Good morning, and thank you so much for tuning in to Inside the Mastermind. I have two beautiful guests with me, Tammy D and Tammy K. So welcome, my sweet friends.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, we're excited to be here.
I love having you. You know, behind the scenes, obviously, we've talked about some of the things that you do, and I would really like to share that with our viewers because what you do is phenomenal. I think it's so important what you're doing with the community and how you're helping out. So you have a podcast called Moving On. So maybe we can start there because I'd like to dive into that and talk about it.
So we have two projects that we work with actively, my partner and I here, and one of the reasons that we partnered together is because we really feel like with real estate, you're such an intricate part of a huge decision of someone's life, whether it's their first home or their 30th home. And we created Moving On the series. It's a local series here in San Diego, and we also have a podcast called Under Contract. And Moving On the series focuses on documenting the journey of clients that, submissions that we receive who are going through some sort of moving on in their life, whether you're going from renting to owning, whether you're downsizing because you're an empty nester, whether you're retiring from the military and you're settling in San Diego, whether you are divorced and now you have to sell your home and buy the replacement home. So we work with those individuals who are literally moving on from one chapter of their life to the next during the real estate process, and we document the journey. So we basically make an episode out of it. Mm-hmm. Not everyone is selected.
Right.
And we are very, very particular with those that we do work with. It's the compelling story behind it. Mm-hmm. And we document their journey so they can have a keepsake. And the most recent series that we did was very gut-wrenching, Tammy.
Yes, we had a lady that she was from Nigeria, and excuse me, she had just gotten divorced, was just having a horrible time, was not sure if she was going to be able to buy. Literally, it was a couple months ago when the market was super hot. There was basically no way that she was going to be able to buy for certain reasons. She didn't have the money to make up the difference in the appraisal, too many offers, blah, 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 blah. Broke her down, unfortunately, made her cry. And then I realized there's a new development up in Fallbrook. And there was no appraisal. There was appraisal contingency, but we knew it was going to be okay. And there wasn't multiple offers. So we literally were able to get her into a townhome there.
Yeah.
And we just closed and just did a podcast with her the other day. And she is so excited because she just, she's the American dream. Yeah. Scientists came here. Unfortunately, her marriage didn't work out. And then she never thought she was going to be able to buy.
Yeah.
And she's living in her home.
And so grateful. So grateful.
So grateful. Wonderful woman.
So rewarding, too.
Yes.
When you can touch somebody's life like that and help them.
Yes.
Get into something that they really like to do and move on,
yeah,
right?
Literally
move on and feel successful.
Hence the name, right? I know, and it was created because I know Tammy and I both had gone through traumatic experiences in our adult life where it literally forced us to move on. We had no choice. Mm-hmm. And I remember saying to myself, I will do it to the end of the day to help those who don't have that feeling of, what do I do, right? They're overwhelmed, it's daunting, because real estate is overwhelming and daunting if you don't have a team behind you. Right. So we created Moving On the series. It's on YouTube. It's fantastic. We just filmed episode 5. We're gearing up for 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah.
Under Contract, the podcast, in the literal sense, is under contract regarding real estate. So we talk everything real estate. We talk everything else that you might make a contract with yourself. Improvement in your health, improvement in your relationships. All of those are contracts you make for yourself. Mm-hmm. And we most recently profiled, I've had some health issues and Tammy has as well, and we've been talking very transparently about our health journey and making the contract with ourselves to become better and become healthier and spreading awareness. So it's a real cool format for us on all fronts.
It sounds amazing. Yeah. Right, and when you can open up and be transparent, it shows others that they can do the same. Because really when we're not transparent, we can't get the help that we need.
Yes,
correct.
Right? Yes.
And we were meant to be a community. That's why this world was created, right? And we have to be a community with each other.
Right.
Yeah.
How amazing.
It's so, you have no, and I think it was Amy, the slave trafficking survivor that made us really, after we got off that interview, I think we were teary-eyed. We were like,
we really were. It was,
and that was, how long was that? That was a 45-minute podcast.
Very long, because there was just so much to tell, and it was human trafficking, and she was a submission to buy a property, and unfortunately, at the time, she wasn't able to, but we were like, we don't care. We want to talk about this. Yes. We want to make this known, and we want to talk about it because it's not talked about enough. And given the fact that she has a traumatic brain injury because of it, it wasn't just the human trafficking. It was more of the, not more of, but adding in the traumatic brain injury and everything else. I mean, she's been through HELL and back. And she's a wonderful woman. And you know what? She's got a great spirit, and she's so happy all the time.
You know, it's interesting too is when they feel lost and hopeless, and we deal with a lot of gut-wrenching submissions. Not every one of them is, I'm ready to buy a multi-million-dollar home. I have X amount of money, and I would like a fixer. I don't know what my credit's like. So for us, moving on isn't just about that. We provide a full concierge service, real estate service, where we help you with the selling of your home, staging, buying, if you need to Airbnb your home, if you need property management, if you need remodeling, we have access to general contractors that provide their rates at wholesale. And everything is one umbrella under Moving On. So it's literally a one-stop shop for real estate concierge services. So it's not just about the transaction for us. It goes way beyond that.
Well, and the other thing too is people can't necessarily buy right away. So what happens is we get them in contact with the lender, and the lender, you know, not everybody has perfect credit, not everybody has money to put down. We give them the blueprint, what they need to do, whether it's in 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever. We stay in touch with them, and then we make it happen.
And they come back.
Yes,
they come back.
They do.
And we get referrals because they're like, you guys have touched my life so much. You know, our motto is, we are advocates first. We are advocates, number one. The real estate is secondary. You know, because the transaction's like anything else. Like, you know, you have your escrow, you open, you close, contingencies, it's all the same. And there is no fee for them to work with us. We do this because this is what we do. Granted, the sellers pay our commission. However, there isn't a fee to work with us. We are very picky with whom we work with because for us, it is about the compelling story behind. You know, as real estate agents and in the industry, I think we tend to forget that there are two human beings on each side of this transaction that have a reason why they're selling or buying. And that is what is more important to us.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal stories for the two of you.
Yeah.
So obviously you're both very successful at what you do, successful real estate agents. I know that a lot of people watching this may be interested in reaching out to you guys. What's the best way to contact you?
They can go to movingon.co, and on Instagram it's movingOnWith Tammy Dean
And then I'm Tammy Krug, or otherwise known as Downtown Tammy.
Okay.
So, and that's on Instagram and Facebook.
And that's the best way to contact you if you would like submissions.
Because they can fill out a submission inquiry. Should you want to take a look at any of the episodes, both the podcast and the series, go to the YouTube channel. It's Moving On with Tammy Dean.
Okay. And before we end, because I just loved your story and I wanted to touch more about that, I think that's very inspiring. I think a lot of people need to know about what you're doing. I know we wanted to talk quickly about interest rates. So real quick, let's just dive into the interest rate is rising, not substantially, just more than what we're used to. Maybe the reasons why it's important to buy now if you're interested.
Gosh, Tammy, downtown, what are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts have always been, you know, when interest rates are low, obviously it's time to buy. And unfortunately, with interest rates rising, what's happening is it's knocking some people out of the buyer pool. So with that being said, you know, it's important to, if you are thinking about it, to go ahead and do it now, because what's going to happen is interest rates are going to continue to tick up. And that's either going to knock you completely out, or it's going to, you know, make you have to go down to maybe a 1-bedroom or something like that. And fortunately, there's more properties coming down the market, but that's because of the time of year. Usually this time of year, properties come on because kids are out of school. It's easier.
The best time to sell.
Best time to sell. So, I mean, I know we're always saying buy right now because of interest rates, but honestly, I think the time is now, and I don't think that we're going to have this huge bubble or anything like that. We're having a correction. The correction's happening right now. And the interest rates going up, which they're going to continue to tick up a little bit, that's what's causing this correction, and it has to happen. It can't just continue to go up and up and up.
It is not sustainable.
We know that, so
I feel like also, you know, if any of the sellers were on the fence, they're really reconsidering it right now, because the fear is real. The fear is real.
They might be missing out on a great opportunity.
Because let's face it, over the last 3 years, it was a seller's market. It continues to be a seller's market. But at the same time, what we're realizing is with the rents going up astronomically, it's forcing those renters / buyers who are considering buying, who have been in the buying pool, that are so frustrated and have intense buyer fatigue that they have no choice to bail out and continue to rent at exorbitant amounts.
Right.
And I always say to my buyers, you can have choices. You can either buy and invest in your own property and pay it off, or you can buy somebody else's property by continuing to rent.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Right? So what's happening is these other buyers who are staying in the pool, who are going to weather the storm, are having more opportunities because there's not that competition with the other buyers that are just continuing to rent, which now makes it a little bit easier for the sellers who are freaking out because rates are going up. But there's a couple that are soldiers and they're staying in the game, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I suggest too, if you're interested in purchasing, do it now.
Yes.
Yeah.
We know what now
Absolutely.
is. We don't know what tomorrow is going to be.
Correct.
So,
Absolutely.
That's what I always say.
Right.
You know.
well, I have loved having the two of you on.
Thank you
so
for having us.
much.
It's
and
been an honor.
Your story is inspiring, and I really appreciate what you do for our
Yes.
community.
Thank you. Thank you for
It's
having us.
fantastic. It's about empowering those and just, you know, as real estate agents, we all have to work together.
We sure do.
We're on the
Yes.
same side.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
So thank you.
Thanks again.
Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Thank you.